Guys, good morning. We'll get started here in just a moment for this Good Morning Linux. This was unscheduled because I was not expecting a deep freeze this time of year in Ohio. I needed to cut grass, but I think the grass is frozen, so no grass this morning. So we'll talk a little bit about Linux, and the new buzzword for Linux is the word immutable. And immutable OSs are not new. There's something that's been around for over 10 years that we'll talk about here shortly. So most of you will catch this on the replay. Feel free to leave your comments and suggestions. If you would like to support future live shows, please do. There are a couple links below in the show notes. And maybe you can join us on the next live show. All right, so background music again, courtesy of Dad, who's flying in tomorrow after 4 years of pandemic lockdowns and everything. He's flying in from Rome. He's doing well. Some of you have asked, and thank you. It'd be good to see him again after almost 4 years. Last time I saw him was in 2019. And then, of course, we know what happened afterwards, and not fun. But he's okay. All right, so what we're going to do here, we'll go to just a few Linux topics, and then we'll go into the main topic. If you're new here, welcome. It's great to have you here for this 13 years of Total OS today, and hopefully more tomorrow. All right, so there is some Ubuntu news. I believe the latest version is due out tomorrow as of this recording, as of this live show. It's 23.04 Lunar Lobster. So yeah, check it out. I don't use Ubuntu anymore. I had an issue with the excuse me. A couple of months ago, I had the latest LTS. I'm going to refresh hang on, I'm going to refresh the screen here, make sure I don't miss anybody in the chat if somebody wants to say hello in the chat. So a couple of months ago, I had Ubuntu, the last LTS 22.04, I think, and it was running fine in one of my spare machines, and I did some updates. I had no audio. That has not happened in a long time. So I thought, okay, well let me try and fix this using some terminal commands, which I don't really like to do, but it's okay. I've been doing this since 2006, so it's no big deal. Couldn't fix it. I'm like, well, let me try a simple rebooting. Didn't work. Wow. Fine. I'm going to reinstall Ubuntu. I reinstalled the system, still no audio. In fact, the audio had the words dummy output. Are we talking about me or the operating system? I'm like, that's it. I'm done. I'm fed up with bugs in Linux. So I use two systems now that appear to be bug-free, and we'll talk about that here in a moment. But getting back to this, if you wanted to try Ubuntu, I've said in the past, if it wasn't for Ubuntu, I would not be here. So I am grateful to the team at Ubuntu, which is canonical. Ubuntu has changed over the years. It's not the same. They've gone through different desktop environment changes. The previous one, Unity, I thought was fine. The latest GNOME, yeah, it's not for me. So, yeah. Okay. Let's move on to the next topic here. This is from theregister.com. And it says here, if you're sick of GNOME or, Snap, Flatpaks, you might like Linux Lite. I generally try to avoid snaps, Flatpaks, app images. Although in Linux Mint, the Flatpaks seem to work pretty good. They've been these packages, snaps and Flatpaks, they've been somewhat unpredictable in the past. And yeah, but if you wanted to try Linux Lite, I have in the past. I think it's fine for beginners. Check out Linux Lite if you want to avoid, according to this article, if you're trying to avoid the other stuff that, at least in the past for me, has not always worked. But again, in Linux Mint, the Flatpaks at least seem to work okay, and they don't appear as slow as the snap packages. So yeah, if you've tried Linux Lite and didn't like it, take a look at Linux Mint or Zorin OS. All right. If you do a Google News search for Immutable OS, there's a whole bunch here. Understanding Immutable OS. You may have heard something called Vanilla OS. What's the other ones? Fedora Silverblue, I think, is the other one. There's tons out there, it appears. I want to give a shout out to Steve from Steve's very own. Kind of brought this to my attention a couple of months ago, about talking about immutable OSs. Before we go into the deep talk of this, do you know what's the very best of Linux as far as immutable OSs? Chromebooks. That's right. They've been around since 2011. They don't seem to get the respect. They don't get enough respect from the Linux family, it seems, Godfather. They don't seem to get the respect that they deserve, which is, well, the free version to download is Chrome OS Flex, which I use. I don't use it every day, but it works terrific. But Immutable OSs is not new, and Chromebooks have proven themselves to be just about bug-free with this concept of Immutable OSs. But basically what the concept of the Immutable OS is that the core system is separated. I guess the word is containerized from apps and or services and or yourself that can possibly disrupt or damage the system, that can make the OS inoperable, as in bugs. And that's why using something such as an immutable OS in theory, and Chromebooks and Chrome OS Flex have certainly proved that these systems cannot be damaged. So this is nothing new. There is a let me go back here. Give me a second. All right, so there is a list here. This is from itsfoss.com, talking about 8 immutable OSs that those looking to embrace the future. Again, this is nothing new. I have 2 Chromebooks. Google has been doing this for years. I don't know why this isn't talked about more. Fine, let me do it. No problem. Again, this is not a sponsored video, anything like that. So, 8 immutable Linux distributions for those looking to embrace the future. Immutability is a concept and trend. Again, it's been around a while. To me, it's nothing new, but that's okay. So according to itsfoss.com, let's take a look at 8 immutable Linux distributions. All right, so again, I've talked about what is an immutable Linux distro. Again, it's helped to cut down on the bugs and reliability factors and all that. So I'm not familiar with all of these. So on this particular list, it's called Carbon OS. It says here it's an upcoming independent Linux distro, focusing on providing a seamless user experience with robust tech. It's a Flatpak first, containerized first approach. Okay, this looks like this is based on the GNOME desktop. Again, not my favorite desktop. Fedora Silverblue. Of course, Fedora has been around a while, one of the more popular, well-known Linux-based systems. So Fedora Silverblue is a variant of the Fedora workstation with immutability. I don't know why I like saying that. Yes, it is one of the more popular distributions out there. Let's see. The typical release looks like it's called Fedora Workstation. Okay. All right. The next one is Flat Car Container Linux. Sounds like a ride in San Francisco with the trolley cars. This is a minimal OS image that includes only the tools needed to run containers, no package manager. Okay, well, that's definitely not for beginners. OpenSUSE Micro OS. For some reason, I thought of Microsoft, but of course, that's not true. So this is built for servers. Okay, all right. Vanilla OS. This is the latest. I guess this is the latest Linux kit on the block. It's fairly new, it says here. It's making waves with its release, switching to the Debian base, ditching Ubuntu right after its first stable release. It aims to provide an easy-to-use desktop experience with reliability and immutable features. Again, this looks like it's the GNOME desktop, not the best for beginners in my opinion. I like the name of this one, Bottle Rocket OS. Is Linux-based, built by Amazon Web Services to run containers on its platform. All right. Number 7 is Blend OS. Again, it says here, an interesting Linux distro in development which aims to provide all the good things from other distributions. Okay. In other words, you can install any type of package, RPM, deb. That might be confusing for beginners. Talos Linux. Wasn't there Planet Talos in Star Trek? Anyway, yet another unique Linux distribution designed for Kubernetes. Talos Linux is an intriguing option for cloud user developers. The OS runs in memory from a Squash FS. Okay. No mention of Chrome OS. Sacrilege, blasphemy. It should be number 1 on this list. In fact, my top 3 Linux for beginners. Number 1 is Chrome OS Flex. Not because it's immutable, although it helps. It just works. There are no bugs. Number 2, I would say probably Linux Mint. And number 3, Chrome OS. I'm sorry, Zorin OS. Chrome OS is number 1. 2 is Linux Mint, and number 3. I like Chrome OS so much, I'm going to have it on the 2 out of 3. No, but number 3 is Zorin OS. So the Immutable Linux system, the new buzzword, which really isn't new. It's been around a while with since the release of the Chromebook and the Chrome OS, now called the Chrome OS Flex operating system. I think it's terrific, as you well know. All right, let me mosey on along here to the live chat. Quails is in the house. Good morning. Well, it's good morning for me. How are you, Quails? Welcome aboard this Good Morning Linux. Hope you're doing well. Have you tried Chrome OS Flex, by the way? All right, I'll stick around a little bit longer. If nobody jumps on, then of course you guys can watch this on the replay. But and then yeah, I might just take a nap because I can't cut my grass. Go back to sleep. It's horrible. But anyway, yeah, I think probably the Immutable OS Linux-based systems are the systems of the future. Chromebooks have proven it that they work. And I'm very happy with my Chromebooks. Ben, hi Ben. Welcome. How you been? Ben is a longtime supporter of the channel. Thank you, Ben. Great to have you here after the Total OS birthday, 13 years last month. Good to have you here. So, Quail says he has not yet tried Chrome OS. Okay. Ben, I don't think you have you? I think you do everything but Chrome OS, right? Yeah, thanks for dropping in. Yeah, this was again. I wanted to cut grass this morning, Ben, but we've had And you probably have it too because you're on the eastern side of the country. We have a deep freeze here, so cannot cut grass. So Ben says you tried it, you did it once but didn't like it. Okay, well it's not for everybody. By the way, I love this. Those of you watching this, I love this morning wallpaper. Yeah, this is Ubuntu 15 dot something wallpaper, by the way. Yeah, Ben says it's cold as heck. It is. It's horrible, man. Oh wait, I'm looking at my feed. The temperature just hit 43. Ooh, it's a heat wave. Yeah, it's horrible. But the community here keeps us warm. Ah. Yeah, I don't use my Linux or Windows laptops that much. As far as my Chromebook, I'll use that's it. As far as laptops, mainly it's my Chromebook. So yeah. Ben says try Chrome OS on a HP ProBook 45. We're not familiar with that. It wasn't too good on it. Really, I'm surprised. Yeah, I've installed it on a gateway, and on a Toshiba, Ben, that had Windows Vista on it. Seriously. It works. Yeah, it's free. It's a hit and miss. I totally get it, but yeah, I don't have any problems. So it's definitely gonna stay on my. Yeah, I know. Ben says, "Wow, it is definitely gonna stay on my Toshiba laptop." Of course, no more Windows Vista on it, but it works. Yeah. Ben says, "Just not used to it." Yeah, I got used to it pretty quick. I think because I don't know. Because it's so simple, and the fact that it prevents you, Ben, I think what the Chromebook and Chrome OS does, it prevents you from attempting to customize it and breaking it, if that makes sense. I mean, let alone that the system as it is has no bugs. It's wonderful, you know, unless you switch from the stable branch to the development branch. Obviously, that's going to be a problem. But yeah, Chrome OS Flex is not meant to be. I mean, except the wallpaper. It's really, or light or dark themes. It's not meant to be customizable. Not used to it. Quail says you're not into it. Prefer Linux. Well, Chrome OS is a form of Linux based off of Gentoo, but you guys prefer customizable Linux. I think that's what you guys are trying to say, right? Which is fine, you know. I just got tired of the bugs. That's why right now I have only Linux Mint Mate as the main system, and then of course I have my Chromebooks. So yeah. Yeah, Chromebooks, great machines for what they have accomplished, what they're meant to be, starting at $200. You really can't go wrong. I mean, look, these outsold MacBooks. It is the only Linux-based system to outsell Apple during the pandemic. A round of applause. Ben is on stomach. Ben is on Storm OS, Arch, not Stomach OS. Jeez. And you happy? Quails use Linux Mint Mate. So you're the smart one. Yeah, Ben says, wow, about outselling it. Yeah, during the pandemic, Ben, it was just 2 years ago, right? 21? Yeah, they outsold Apple. Chromebooks outsold Apple. And not a single person, it seems, except me, who said, these Linux freaking powered machines outsold Apple. No respect from the community, it seems. But that's nuts. Ben says that's nuts, man. Absolutely, yeah. I agree. Look. I get it. Chromebooks are not for everyone. I get it that you can't customize it. Totally get it. But man, Ben and Quails, no bugs. Zippo. Period. Done. The need for speed. It's hard to beat that. It really is. Especially after I had that bug in Ubuntu 2 months ago where I had no audio. I couldn't fix it. I've had this channel for 13 years. I could not fix for the life of me the dummy output audio in Ubuntu. I fought, what's that song? I fought the law I fought the bugs and the bugs won. I gave up. Yeah. So, not a problem with Chrome OS, and so far not an issue in Linux Mint. Ben, you have an M1 MacBook? Okay, MacBook Air. Yeah, those are nice machines. I thought about buying a first Mac just to, review and something for the Mac users, but I just don't have the budget for that. So, but I've never owned a MacBook. I have an Apple iPad Mini. That's definitely outdated. Still works, but yeah, for my friends, the people I know who have MacBooks, they are very, very happy. And Quail says no bugs here either. Yeah, okay, cool. Let me transition here. Those of you watching it, this is my setup here for Linux Mint. I have the panel here at the top. Of course, this is customizable, of course. And the weather applet always works. Love this. Simple, current conditions, forecast. Holy moly, tomorrow's going to be in the 80s. Wow, I'll take it. So yeah, Linux Mint Mate so far, no bugs either, Quails. Yeah, 256 may not be enough storage space for anybody, let alone on a Mac, Ben. Anyway, this is my setup here for a Linux Mint Mate. I just love the Mate desktop. My favorite news feeder, the Ticker app, Tickr. Catching up on the latest news, and you can put different RSS feeds in the settings. So, like it. Check it out, Tickr. Is the so on those machines you cannot upgrade the drive? Are the drives soldered onto the board, Ben, with the MacBooks? Is that what it is? Yeah, if they are, you really don't want to mess with that then, yeah. Yeah, right. And the RAM also, yeah. Yeah, soldered in there, yeah. It has only 8 gigs of RAM. For basic use, Ben, on a MacBook, aren't 8 gigs of RAM enough? I mean, they're plenty for a Chromebook, and there should be enough for Windows 11. So you bought it in 2022 of last year on your birthday. Yeah, I think on the MacBook Air 8 gig usually. Yeah, okay, all right, yeah. Yeah, 8 gigs on a Chromebook will fly. Um, all right, I'll stick around for another about 10 minutes or so, then we'll wrap this up for this morning. So, um, user for school, not heavy stuff or virtual machines or games. Okay, all right. Yeah, the only thing about the Chrome OS Flex, unless you have a certified machine, you won't be able. It appears you won't be able to install Linux apps on it as you would, as say in a Chromebook, which are .deb downloads. That's the only thing I miss on the Chrome OS Flex. Having the extra option isn't there. Neither is the Android apps. But hey, the system's free, so can't complain. Yeah, kind of like Apple with their OS. Yes. So this weekend, Ben, I might do a live weekend show. I know it's been a while, um, but several reasons. Well, for one thing, I was sick for about 2 weeks. Stuffy nose, runny nose. It was probably allergies. It was awful, but I'm feeling better now. So if you would like to be part of the live shows, anyone who supports the channel through PayPal or Patreon, you are pretty much automatically invited. So, anyway, Friday you'll be part of your buddy Josh's distro hacking. He's doing DWM. Okay. I remember years ago when I first started doing the live shows and podcasts with Spatry's Cup of Linux, and that's where the A team, the Linux A team, was born. I would have him and IG from Infinitely Galactic, and somebody said the Linux A team. I remember years ago, Spatry would try to convince me, Ben, to do Arch Linux. You gotta do it. It's customizable. You have more control. Blah blah blah. I was like, what are you smoking, man? I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that and recommend that for beginners, and let alone myself. Oh no, well then, one weekend. Yeah, Ben says he missed those days. So do I. So one weekend we came on, me, him, and IG, I'll never forget. I should have recorded it. And Spatry says, "You know what, Toss? You are right. Arch keeps breaking on me. That's it. I'm done. I don't have time to fix these damn things. Forget about it." Or something like that. Well, of course I'm right. Yeah, Arch back then was a biatch. Yeah. Well, it still potentially can be. Didn't DT have a problem with his Arch system? Man, you need patience. I'm fairly patient for a Windows user. But when something is out of bounds, like 2 months ago when my Ubuntu update had no sound, and reinstalling the freaking system even didn't fix it, that's way out of bounds. No respect for that. But yeah, that happened years ago when Spatry said, "That's it, I'm done with Arch." Okay, no problem. I'm glad you came over from the dark side. Oh, so DT had a problem, but he fixed it. Okay, well, that's why I stick with Chrome OS. There's nothing to fix. Had to reinstall the Linux kernel package. Oh, simple for newbies, no problem. Got it, okay. Yeah, if we had OBS Studio for Chromebooks and Kden Live for Chromebooks, official packaging for those, that's all I would use, Chrome OS Chromebooks. But alas, we do not. That's why I don't use it as much for live streaming. Lenovo's are good, Ben. Yep. I have 2 of them. Yep. Yep. They're like concrete, solid. All right, Quails. Thank you for stopping by. All right, Ben, let's get and wrap this up. Thank you for stopping by, my friend. So, yeah, we talked about different things on this little Good Morning Linux hangout for Immutable OSs. Again, this is nothing new. I know it's the latest new buzzword, but, you know, Chromebooks have been around for years, and Chrome OS, a form of an Immutable OS. And I don't know about the new Linux-based immutable systems, but the Chromebooks and Chrome OS are the new Linux standard, quality standard. And if you haven't tried a Chromebook yet, you probably should. You might be surprised. All right, Ben, everybody else who listens to this later, thank you for stopping by, and I'll catch you on the next one. Ciao.